So we'll give you our lecture, The Mighty Way. A statement was made, and you've all heard it, that there are many roads that lead to Rome. One man that I heard of decided that he was going to be a member of the Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, the Methodist Church, a Buddhist church, and a few others. And when asked why he wanted to be a member of all of these, he said he was taking no chances. Now, we may laugh at this, and we may think that all roads lead to Rome. I personally think that every religion on earth has some value to it, as long as it is not a devilish religion. I mean a religion that worships the devil. I don't go along with that fellow up in San Francisco where he has the Satanist church or something like that. I don't even think that's a religion. I'm talking about Christian religions, Jewish religions, Mohammedans, Buddhist, and all these different religions. As long as people get some good out of it, I'm sure that it's perfectly all right for them to belong to this church and attend services and do their ablutions, whatever they are. But the Summit Lighthouse has, as a part of its curricula, call it what you want to, the idea that people can belong to any church they want to, come here to the Summit Lighthouse and belong to the Summit Lighthouse if they want to, and still attend any church they want to. Now, this has been our experience, to be quite frank with you. These people go to whatever church they want to as long as they want to, and if they get tired of it and decide they want to give the full attention to the Ascended Masters, they do. This is rather interesting because we don't attempt to change people's religion. We try to follow the mighty way. And the mighty way is the way of the I Am Presence. This is an oil painting done by Norman Thomas Miller under the Master's direction. I worked very closely with Tom when he was doing it. It is a flat surface. It has concentric rings of color here. In our explanation of the chart, we show that this is an eye picture of each one of you. In other words, this is a divine photograph of you. This is your I Am Presence. This is your causal body. This is your Holy Christ self. And this is the human, with all its untransmuted substance, with a threefold flame of love, wisdom, and power springing forth in the heart. Here's the violet flame around it. Here's the mighty tube of light called forth. The tube of light that you can call forth to protect yourselves against the negative vibrations of the world. Now, when we start talking about the mighty way, we're talking about the way of unfoldment of what is inside of you. You take a pumpkin seed and you plant it in the earth. That seed's got a pumpkin inside of it. You take an elm seed. It has the very leaf pattern of the elm within it. And you have inside of you the image of God. That is the mighty way. We get confused out of all these different religions, which are good. They've helped a lot of people. I was born a Methodist. Across the street from us was a Presbyterian church. The Presbyterians, they'd sing, "Will there be any stars in my crown, in my crown?" And the Methodists would answer back, "No, not one, no, not one." And this is about the size of it all. People are wondering which is the best religion. The best religion is the mighty way. And the mighty way is the I Am Presence of yourself. Your own individualized God presence. That's the mightiest way there is in the universe. Forget all this nonsense about sect and think you're going to heaven because you belong to a church or obey a certain ritual. You can do these things if you want to be the fellow that played it safe by belonging to all these religions. This is okay. We have no objection. But in all cosmic honesty, we know that the way that leads to your perfection is the way that unfolds the latent seed of divinity put there by Almighty God when He conceived of you. So many of us, because we think of God almost as a great stamping machine, we think of this great matrix coming down white hot, hitting the ingot, and dropping out a model just exactly the way the matrix is made. Well, this is true, except that this white-hot matrix loves every ingot, has the white-hot fervor of love for every person. You are personally beloved by God, and I do not care how much or how little you love Him, He loves you. And the matrix of His love is involved in this seed, and this seed is in you. And this seed, when it is allowed and encouraged to expand, will produce the miracle of true selfhood. Man, know thyself. When you know thyself, you have to say it the way God said it. Man, know thyself as God. For it is the manifestation that counts. Man is intended to be a manifestation of God, not a manifestation of whimsy. Do you know what whimsy is? It means you feel like doing something, so you do it because you feel like it. Well, with God, it doesn't work that way. With Him, it's a matter of what is known by the great masters as beingness, spelled B-E-N-E-S-S, beingness, the science of being. I will never forget Lord Gautama Buddha's dictation to us one time when he spoke to us from the Gobi Desert. And he pulled a little play on words with us, and he said, the secret of all life is to just go be. And he says the way you spell it is G-O-B-E. Go and be what you already are. Most of us have acted out the plan of whimsy. We feel like eating, so we eat. We feel like drinking, so we drink. We feel like getting mad, so we fly off the handle. We feel like being discouraged, so we are discouraged. And what is discouragement anyway? It comes from several words. Dis, which I think is also related to disenfranchisement, but courage comes from the French word for the heart, coeur. And most of you are familiar with Richard Coeur de Lion, or Lion, Richard the Lion-Hearted. So the word coeur refers to the power of the heart, and courage means the maturity of the heart. And so when we say courage, it means a man has developed enough maturity to recognize that he's come of age and that his heart is mature in a holy wisdom, and he elects to serve the God of the universe and his fellow men, and he is no longer in love with himself. I will go so far as to guarantee you that every human being that is miserable because he feels that someone has stepped upon his puny acre of ground. In other words, his ego is wounded. Now, if he were truly in love with God, if he loved God more than anything else, if he loved completely his fellow men as himself, how could he then make his conduct or his mood or attitude dependent upon what his neighbor did to him? Today we have millions of people who they are constantly like a yo-yo. They go down here and they come up here based on how life reacts to them and how it treats them. If their wife says to them in the morning, "Good morning, dear, how are you?" their day is made. But if the wife says, "I'm sleepy," "Go away, don't bother me," they go away all right, and they are mad at her. and they're wondering how they can get back at her some way. And the next time that something comes up, they try to sock back. Well, you can't take a sock at anybody that the universe doesn't take a sock at you, because you are initiating a law. Every deed that you do is governed by law. But we forget this law. Our ego becomes more important than God and more important than our fellow men. The biggest secret of happiness and success is that every time somebody does something you don't like, if you stop to realize, say, well, that's my brother. It was the late Father Flanagan that popularized the idea of a little boy on the back of someone, and he says, he ain't heavy, Father, he's my brother. Well, if people thought in these terms, if they recognized the beauty in the idea of sharing the burdens of life, then the mighty way would open up to them, because they would put themselves out of the way. This is the one secret I give to you tonight. And if I never gave you anything else, and you will remember it, if you will always get yourself out of the way, then the sunshine of Almighty God, with its vibrancy and power, with its intense love, the love of the matrix, will pour down through your heart of flesh, will change you and bring you to a point where you are of age, not 21, but 2 plus 1, which is 3. In other words, let us build upon this mountain a tabernacle for thee and for me and for God. Let's dwell on this mountaintop. Let us learn to live in the spirit of the mighty way. Then we won't worry about religion. We won't worry about our neighbor. We won't worry about all these things. We will place everything in God's hands. We will be unashamed. We will be willing to take a stand for a principle without putting ourselves in the way and saying, well, how is this going to hurt me? Somebody may not like what I say. We have got to be honest with ourselves, even if we're wrong sometimes. Be honest with ourselves. And remember that the mighty way is God. If we'll forget everything else and just think that God is the mighty way, then His sunshine will lift us up above the shadows. So remember that and be on the mighty way. Thank you.